The basic design of the motor car hasn't changed much in decades. They're a bit more sophisticated than they used to be, but essentially you're still talking about a metal box on wheels with a petrol or diesel engine under the bonnet. But come over here for a moment. This is the Hiraco Fold, and it's an electric car, but that's not what's really special about it. Have a look at this. The entire car squeezes up into about 2/3 of its original length, which means, of course, that it's a lot easier to park. And when he's finished, the driver can open up the front, step out and walk away. And I call that quite impressive. Okay, cabin doors to manual. The Fold is being developed by a Spanish company, but it's based on a design produced by the Media Lab of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston. Experts there have been looking for ways to reduce traffic congestion and make cities function better. And this is what they came up with: a highly manoeuvrable, space-saving city car.
The length of the vehicle is the width of a conventional car. That allows you to go nose in to the curb in a parallel parking scenario so that you can get 3 or actually 3.5 of the city cars in the space of a conventional automobile. So if you're introducing a fleet of shared use vehicles, it's a huge advantage in a city where parking is limited to have 3+ vehicles available to you rather than one conventional car.
And that's the central idea with this car. You don't actually own one. You simply take it from a higher point on the street when you need it and walk away when you've finished. It's meant to work in tandem with public transport and give people a real alternative to travelling door to door in private cars.
It will be in the future like a taxi without a driver, and you will be the driver. And you only pay for the minutes or for the time that you can or you want to have it in your position. Then when you're finished and you arrive in your target, you finish the contract with this car and you are free.
And I know you have a very unusual marketing slogan. Tell me that.
Yeah, don't buy this car. Pay only for the using.
That might sound like a radical concept, but in fact car sharing is already becoming popular in many cities, and one day it could become the norm.
We're all collectively coming to the conclusion that owning a car is really quite mad. You know, here's this thing that costs tens of thousands of dollars, and even when heavily used, sits 23 out of 24 hours every day unused. You have to pay for repairs, you have to pay for parking in the city. Wouldn't it be so much nicer if you had a car when you need it and it would simply disappear when you didn't? And that's the kind of world we may be headed towards.
Well, it's certainly an interesting piece of engineering, isn't it? But whether or not something like this can be a commercial success is likely to depend on two things. First of all, whether or not consumers are actually ready to embrace the idea of renting a car by the hour rather than having one in the garage. And secondly, whether or not something like this is simply too radical for the average consumer. Theo Leggett, BBC News.